Welcome to the Phoenix Mindset Podcast, where it's all about success and happiness in life, where we talk about the tools that will help you to spread your wings and fly. My name is Sonja Piontek, and I've got with me today a truly amazing guest, a lady that has had a lot of success in her life. She is a powerhouse of inspiration, a celebrity with over 6 million fans. Her TV show is cult. She comes from extremely humble beginnings and has basically created a life full of success and happiness. So let's talk today about what it took her, the secrets behind her success as well as her happiness. Very early on, she said she fell in love with life and opportunities. Welcome to the Phoenix Mindset Podcast, Heidi Dugan.
Hi, Sonja. Thanks for having me. Very nice introduction indeed.
Well, you deserve it. I mean, it's incredible what you have created in your life. And the beauty that I see here is that combination of not just being extremely successful, but really having created a fulfilled, happy life and thriving in what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah. It's so important, isn't it, to be able to do what we love or to be able to choose the things that we love, because I think that not only do we lead, better lives, but everyone else around us is then influenced by that. So I'm hoping that more people, not just myself, have benefited from a happy life that I've led.
Oh, totally. We are going to talk about the secret behind your success. We are going to talk about habitual routines. We're going to talk about the power of supporting habits. We're going to talk about all these details that helped you basically get to where you are in your life today. But maybe a little bit about yourself first so that people can place you. You are Australian by birth. You moved to China over 2 decades ago, and you are a true superstar in China. In the Middle Kingdom, your show, your TV show, which is called You Are the Chef, really isn't just a cooking show. It is cult. I mean, you've basically been in Chinese households for over 20 years. People grew up with you. How did that happen? Like, do you want to share a little bit about, things like this don't just happen. How did you create this? How did this come about?
So it's really sort of interesting because it's not something I would have expected. But then when I look back, I go, well, actually, yes, I really was putting myself in the position where I'd lead myself to where I am today. My whole idea in my life at that time was that I wanted to be an actor. So I wanted to get out and live my life and explore and, come across more different opportunities. The intention was to go to the US and to the UK like all good actors do.
There you are in Shanghai.
And I'm in Shanghai. And so what happened was I got the opportunity. I heard about a course that was in the center of China in Wuhan. And so it was about international trade. And honestly, I had no intention of learning, I didn't intend to do any sort of work in that area, but I thought that it was a great experience for me personally to be able to sort of be dropped in the middle of China and to get that exposure.
And also at a time when China really wasn't all that westernized. This was the true China back then, the real deal.
This was 26 years ago. And I will say that even Wuhan was less westernized than Shanghai at the time. So, we were really dumped into some of the old images and the ideas of what we thought China was like, we think it was like now, but actually what it was like back then. So I got that experience, and then opportunity led to opportunity, and I started working in the TV station. And so I, ultimately did move into the area that I wanted to move into, but it just was in a country that was, beyond my expectations. And so, and that just opened up the rest of my life for me, really.
You seem to be a lady that has really mastered the art of seeing windows of opportunities, of opening doors, and having the guts to step through.
Sure.
You are nodding, yes. And
I think that comes from a real understanding of who I am and what I want. And I have this, sometimes it doesn't work for my good, but sometimes it does, is that I have this belief that I should be happy today. And
beautiful.
Yeah, and so what happens is I know very much where I want to go, but I do make decisions based on, I want to get there, but I also want to enjoy myself as I'm going. And so the direction, success, and my wanting to be, and do everything I can in my life means that, there were many options open. I wasn't I understood very quickly that to be an actor, you really had to be very specific about the opportunities and the direction you were going in. And my thing is that I just wanted to do so many things in my life, and the acting really came into it more, that I realized that everything that we do, we are performing. Everything that we do, we're on show to other people. So it was an incredible skill to have learned as a degree, because I think that it's that ability to be and become someone else, or someone that you create, that has meant that, I've enjoyed the success, and that I've been able to transform who I have been at each different step of the way.
Yeah, and that is so beautiful, to know who you are, to know what you want, and to enjoy the journey. Because so many people have this, okay, once have finished my university degree, once I have finished school, once I'm married, once I'm retired. No, life happens every single day, every single hour, every single minute. And you are a person that seems to enjoy every single moment and live in the moment with the future in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, even my fans here, we've got hundreds and thousands of fans, and on
Well,
the
actually,
show,
millions.
millions,
Millions. Don't be so humble. You've got
on the
millions.
show. But that's what they always say is, how do you always say, happy and, vibrant? And I think the thing is that I'm not always happy and vibrant. I get down, I get knocked, have rants. But there are two things that I do that keep me in check. The first belief that I have is that life can often be very difficult for majority of us. And I do not believe that I should be passing on any negativity to anyone else, that it is my utmost responsibility, no matter how I'm feeling, that I do not pass my crap, my bad attitude onto anyone else, that I have to at least, and I affirm every morning, that anyone that I come in contact to, that I will bring light into their life.
Oh, beautiful. And so can we just repeat that sentence? That's so beautiful.
So anyone I come in contact with, that I will bring light into their life.
That is really powerful, especially when talking to 6 million people on a daily basis. I mean, I find it extremely big of you to actually share that you have vulnerable moments, that you have moments where you just say, "Girl, it's just, I'm feeling crap today, excuse my French, but that
Yeah.
you, especially with that kind of following, with those numbers of people you touch on a daily basis, you really make it a point to bring light into their life rather than share your
Yeah.
tough moments. And I don't think you mean that it's not about asking for help, or sort of talking to a close person that you are having a bad day, because we all do at times.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah.
whenever you can, bring light to other people. And that is
Yeah.
powerful. And in the end, that gives
Absolutely.
you so much back.
It does. And, we need to be part of a movement that changes the direction and moves us into a better space. You know, just before I got on, I was incredibly frustrated
Oh
with some
no.
things that are happening. And so, the first thing I did was call really good friends, like, I just need to rant. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, I feel so much better. How was your day? And that's the thing is that, it's not that I don't share my feelings with other people,
Mhm.
but I want to make sure, even with that friend, I'm leaving them in a position where they know that they felt, I was happy after, and I
Oh,
felt good that I
or they
let go.
probably had a chuckle and felt, yeah,
Exactly.
where you just go, okay, this was one of those get her back into a great mood calls, and you just laugh about it. And sometimes all it takes is
Exactly.
5 minute phone call. I've had that same
Exactly.
experience. Sometimes you just get into this mood where you see, ooh, something emotionally is just going downhill. You grab the phone, you call someone who has an infectious laugh, you call them, 5 minutes later, you're in a great mood again. And it's our responsibility.
Exactly. And that brings me to my second thing that I do, is that I have a list
Hmm.
of support that and that list is written down, but it is so firmly planted
Hmm.
in my mind, and I set up structure in my life. So I know that if I am not feeling it when I wake up, that I go, okay, I get down and I do my meditation. I
Hmm.
do my breathing. I look at my, archangel cards.
Hmm.
I have two different types of music lists. One that is about, just pumping me up to get me going, to get that sort of energy up. Another one is a much more meditational one. I have a list of the friends and family people that I would call, and exercise. So, and also books. So when I am feeling like, the other morning, I was sort of like, I'm feeling so demotivated at the moment. That was about like 20 minutes while I was just sort of laying there going, what is the thing? And it's like, you know what? Just get up and go through these routine. And by the time I'd finished it, pumped on that music,
Hmm.
I was walking out the door to the office going, from one going, what is life all about? Oh my God. And then going, I'm going to nail this, And so that's the thing, those two is, if you share and give light to other people, that's a great thing, because it also gives back to you. But also, my support system is not just other people. It is me being diligent and me disciplined to go back to this list and go, have I done this in the last day? Because if I've done all of these things, then I know that I'm pretty much going to be on top of things. But we all have to be a guard in our own minds, right?
Oh,
So that we
totally.
protect ourselves from our own thoughts and from other people's thoughts, from what's happening in the world.
Yeah, and
So,
it can be overwhelming. It can be
yeah,
overwhelming. And I think we've all experienced those days where we wake up and nothing feels right. Just nothing
yeah,
feels right. And you just have this sovereignty, this, oh, it's all so
yeah,
heavy. But as you say, with the right supporting habits, you can actually pull yourself out of it. And I often work with music as well, where I just go like, poof, okay. And for me, what works extremely well is ABBA songs. I mean, you can't not sing along. And yes, no ABBA song is ever gonna solve the problems of the world. But
yeah.
as you're sliding into a, let's say, bit of a bad mood, it will pull you out and sing along, turn it up high and just,
Yeah. Well, my music is very much like, if you look at the theme of all of them, you know, I'm a fire starter, finishing, I'm a gladiator, you know, I'm a warrior. So for especially for morning stuff and that, when I'm needing pump up, I need the positive words of other people. And especially when it's sung in a song, the beat and the rhythm just pulls you along no matter what. So I, you know, sometimes we need really, really loud music that just only tells you what you want to hear, you know.
Oh, totally.
So yeah, there are things that you need to do, because everyone, I think this is the thing, is that people that maybe are not achieving the things that they want to in their life, and then they look at someone that is achieving something that they want in their life, that they think that there's something different, and there really is no difference to what's happening. And you know, we all have crappy days, we all have bad relationships, we all have money problems, you know, we all have these things. The thing is that how do we deal with it? Do we embrace it? Do we push forward? You know, when I know that when I've gotten a bit slack with my exercise, instead of me going, you know, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or, you know, I'll just keep going, I go, well, clearly it's not enough to motivate me. So I will either do a challenge for myself, or I will make myself work even harder and longer, because I know myself that unless something is challenging enough, then it's not going to motivate me. So you that's why I say you've got to know yourself, because then you can pull yourself up.
Yeah, but that's something that I think a lot of people haven't really dived into well enough to really understand. I often get these questions. So what exactly is the music you listen to? What are the routines you do? Well, these routines, I'm happy to always share them, but these routines work for me. Your routines work for you. So everyone needs to obviously listen to others to get inspiration to even start with that process, but then to figure out what is it that helps them to set up the system of support routines, of habits that will help them get, because just dreaming high and just having all these goals, yeah, it's beautiful, but if you don't take the necessary steps and help yourself, because we all sometimes try to sort of sneak around things and do things, but certain things just have to be done, and it helps to have a system set up around you that helps you just do the steps that are necessary, because success and happiness ain't just gonna happen.
I love that you said that it looks different for every different person. And I think that that's so important to realize. You know, when I say I wake up at 5:30 every morning, some people go, that's just doesn't work for me. It's like, it doesn't need to work for you. What you need to find is that what does work for you, and you need to keep tweaking it. What I used to do, you know, 10 years ago is not what I do today. What I do in the winter is may not the same as I do in the summer. When I'm here working or when I'm on holiday are different things. And so I'm constantly, if I'm not feeling good, if I'm feeling, especially if it lasts longer than a day to 2 to 3 days, and it's like going on for a week, I go, oh, wait a second. What is it that I need to change? Is it the weather's changed, or is it that something in me has changed that I need to, you know, change what I'm doing? Why am I not going to the gym, for instance? You know, why am I not going to F45? You know, maybe I'm just over it. Maybe I want to start doing yoga classes, but I pull myself up very quickly. So,
and you take the time to reflect, and that's super important.
Absolutely. That's, you know, I think that, again, everyone gets into ruts, everyone gets depressed and things like that. It's how long you leave yourself there. And we all know the hero's journey, well, a lot of people know the hero's journey. And
do you want to explain it for those that don't know it?
Sure. The hero's journey, and I think probably if we look at Star Wars is probably the best example. You have
Okay, full disclosure, I'm a total Star Wars novice. So don't use too much lingo, please.
No, well, you've got the hero, and what happens is there's a real challenge and difficulty, and they go into the darkness, and through that darkness, it is really, really difficult. And it's not until you find someone that can teach you how to grow out of that, and it's through that progress that you learn that the light you start to see the light. And this is the same with Star Wars. You see Luke Skywalker sort of with Yoda, he's learning, he's got a mentor, and he's moving out. And what happens is when you move into the light around the circle, you turn back and you start to guide, and you start to share what you've learned with others. Then because of your progress, then you'll start to meet new challenges, and then you will go back into the darkness. And so what people often don't realize is that no matter what, if you want to have something in life that you don't have already, or if you want to move forward or improve or something, you must go through this. It's just a process. Like a child wants to walk, they go through difficulty, they fall,
And they fall hundreds of times.
Exactly. And then there is the parent that finally sort of is helping them and guiding them through whatever, and they start to walk, and they turn and they run everywhere. And so it's through that, then they'll start to do something else, and they'll start to go to school. So we all go through these processes. It's how quick that you want to go through them. And we have cyclical systems that we go through in our life, but also on projects or in day-to-day things. Yeah. So my thought was, once I realized that, I was like, well, hell, I don't want to stay in the darkness for very long.
Better move through rather quickly.
Yeah.
Get that learning process going. And I think you mentioned a word that was extremely powerful, the mentor. Yes. And that's something, I think, once you realize that you need to find the right mentors, you can ask for the right mentors. Sometimes a mentor is just a book of inspiration. Sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's someone in your circle. But I think it is so important to actually see that see the power behind having mentors.
Sure. One of the quotes that my mother has used since we were young is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah, but the student also needs to then open their eyes and allow the teacher to enter their lives.
Absolutely. And so that's the thing is that, you can get mentors, you can read books, hundreds of thousands of people have written books on every topic in the world. So,
and some are really good.
Yes, exactly. And so I'm like, often I will say yes to things that I've never done before. And and my
sounds familiar.
My mother, and this is one of the things where, why do you step into things, and, are you fearful of it? Why do you do so many things and keep pushing that boundary, going around on this hero's journey? Is because what else am I here to do? But secondly, I say, yes, I'm going to do it. And then I commit myself 100%. And I've had this idea is that I figure I can, either if I don't know how to do it, I can learn it.
Yep.
If I don't know how to learn it, then I can either get someone else to do it, or I can get them to teach me. So, I figured, if it can be done, then why can it not be done by me? So,
totally.
So that's
why can't you figure out a totally new way of invent it? And
exactly.
I know what you mean. And I've always, in these situations, when then at some stage there is always a little bit of doubt and hesitation where you go, oh my God, is this not maybe a tiny little bit too big? And that's when I always ask myself the question, what's the worst thing that can possibly go wrong? And if you really answer it, I mean, we are lucky because we come from a background where we have education. We live in countries where we're safe. So this is, I mean, we're very privileged in that way. But what is the worst thing that can go wrong? Most cases, a little bit of an ego scratch, that's all. And that can be overcome.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I do the same as, you know, what's the worst thing that could go wrong? I think the big thing is that the universe knows when you're certain about something. And I'm quite particular about, you know, the absolute certainty. When I've decided on something, that's it.
Yep.
We're going to move.
It happens.
It doesn't mean I'm not flexible. I'm flexible, but I'm going to make this happen. And you know, I have a game with my kids. It's incredible how your ability to be certain can impact you instantly. We have this game at dinner, and both my kids will have to do the washing up. But there are times when...
How old are they?
One is 17, one is 13.
Okay, so teenies.
Yeah, we've been doing this since they were about 7 years old. So it's been a long-standing thing. So sometimes one of them doesn't want to do it, so they'll negotiate with the other, and we play, you know, rock, scissors, paper. And I've said to, and I've done it more with my daughter, and taught her how about certainty is that, you know, before you do it, just place in your mind that you absolutely will win, and that you absolutely
positive affirmation.
And so she'll go boom, 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 and she'll win every time. And then just, you know, and then recently, because sometimes she's kind of not focused, but I go, place in your mind that you're going to win and that you will absolutely get the outcome that you want. So she does it and she wins every time. And then she did it with my brother and with her brother. And I said to her this time, and I did do it deliberately, I said, oh, I'm not so sure. I think maybe Odin might win. And she goes, no. Bang, bang, bang. They did it. And of course her brother won.
Because and so she had some doubt,
had doubt in her mind. And I said to her, I want you to, and she was like, what? And I just, you know, and I deliberately did it. And she's like, you're like magic. And I was like, I'm not like magic. Like, you get what you think. And that absolute certainty that you've had in the past, because I gave that certainty to your brother and he went, you bet I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, and what you just said is universally true. You get what you think. It's the mind is the most powerful tool we have. And it's incredible once we set our minds to something, how much we can actually achieve. And it sometimes surprises me where I'm like, wow, this really happened. But it is the certainty in your mind where you just have this confidence, this trust. This is going to happen. I can do this. I will do this. And I am doing this. And yes, as you said, one has to be flexible because sometimes there's a little deviation that's necessary or something unexpected. Obviously, things happen that are unexpected. But if you know, I'm going to win this, I'm going to do this. This project might seem ridiculously large, but I've got this. Yeah. If you set your mind on it and just have this positive reaffirmation, I've got this. You have it. You really have it.
Absolutely, and I think that's why it's important to pick, you know, those sort of moonshine sort of dreams, you know, goals that are bigger, that bring, you know, that passion, that bring that excitement to you, so that you know, it's, you know, once you put your foot on the other side, there is no going back. You know, you have to burn the bridge, and so that's where you get, when we talk about life and success, that's actually where you get true happiness, because you are fully feeling like you are living life. Totally. And that's where you get those people that love adventure and do those crazy things, because they put themselves out there into positions which waken them up, which give them a complete body feeling of, this is what life is all about. And so, you know, whether you're an adventure freak or you love business or you love caring about someone. Nurses can be the same, or caregivers, putting yourself in a position to really help someone and bring light into their life, bring health into their
Extremely
life.
satisfying.
Positivity is just, that in itself is just, you feel the real feeling of that this is living.
Yeah. And success does not always mean millions of followers, millions of dollars of sales in 90 minutes. Yes, that's one of those things. It's often said Heidi Dugan, she sold 2 million worth of product in 90 minutes. Yes, it's impressive. But I think deep down, sometimes that moment when you touched a single person and turned around their life and gave them the trust to create a positive, beautiful, successful, happy life, that's even so much more meaningful.
Absolutely. So all of the things that, everyone else talks about, for me, Heidi, is a success. They're things that I've enjoyed doing, but that's not where I consider myself a success. I consider myself a success when I look at my phone and my daughter has sent me messages and goes, whose mum is a legend? My mum's a legend, which she sent to me twice this morning. That sort of thing is where I go, damn, not only have I'm so proud of myself, but wow, what an amazing girl at 17 that sent me that message.
Yep.
They're the sorts of things that touch my life. And, my motivation is, success is an outcome. My motivation is very much to live my life. And so my success is the journey that I'm going on. And I always try to make sure that, when I am talking to millions of people, that I'm not talking to millions of people, that I'm only talking to one person.
So that's mentally in your mind, you just imagine that one viewer out of the 6 million.
I'm always only talking to one person. Even for this podcast, there is going to be one person, like everyone is individually listening to this.
Oh, totally.
And that's for me is, I always am only talking to one person. If I can improve or help someone in some small way, even if it was one person, I'm okay with that. And
totally.
I'm motivated. And so that's success to me. My children and their love and seeing them grow, that's success to me. My health, my body, that's success to me. And I've had fun with all the other stuff on the way.
Yeah. And I think once you take the ego out and it's not about the number of followers and the fame, that's when you really truly start to be successful and really enjoy it. I mean, what I do in my life, I enjoy it so much that I sometimes really say, am I actually getting paid for this? Like, yes, it's hard work. And being a keynote speaker is short, hard work. But running these retreats, working with corporations and having 100 guests for 10 days on site in places like Mongolia, that is hard work. But then I sometimes have these moments where I'm just so overwhelmed and going like, wow, have I created that life for me? Am I getting paid for this? And these are the moments when I'm just so overwhelmed by the power of being able to create our own lives. And it's only up to us. It's really only up to us what we make of our opportunities.
So much so. Look, that's just, success is the outcome of being really good at something. And that's, as you're saying, it doesn't matter how many followers you are. My son says to me, what would you think if I became a YouTube blogger? And of course, with millions of followers, and my first thing is that, well, that's not a career. What would you be sharing with them? Like, the followers is an example of success, of something that you've shared and people want to hear it, want to listen to it. So I'm more concerned about that.
What's your message?
Yeah, exactly. And so, when he says that, he's like, no, but that's not what I mean. It's like, but that really is. That's the only way that you can get that many followers, is because people don't follow something that's not interesting or that's not shared with them. So that's really the big thing is that, whatever it is you're doing, the better you become at it, you naturally will pick up people and they will want to follow you. They'll want to know more about you. They'll want to partner with you. They want to give you like jobs that, you know, that give you other options.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you have clients coming towards you where you go like, wow, where did they appear from? And they are approaching you, and this whole thing, oh, get better at sales, you need to push, push, push. No, you need to actually get to a stage where there's a pull factor, where people are approaching you and where it feels, whilst obviously phases can be tough and it's really hard work, but where you're at ease with it and where you get enough enjoyment out of it, where you just go like, wow, at the end of the day, this was great. Yes, it was tough. It's like workout. It's hard. But then afterwards you go, yes, this was great. And that's the whole thing. I mean, you can't just lean back on your sofa, open a bag of chips or chicken feet in your case, and just lean back and say, well, success, life, happiness, please do happen. No, you've got to work for it.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, I read this amazing quote just recently, and it goes through, you know, I asked God for strength and he gave me challenges. And
you learn.
And they give I wanted wisdom and he gave me, you know, something else. So there's this whole thing. And what I realized is that, oh my goodness, you know, everything that comes into our life, if we look at exercise and we want to build a muscle, the only way that you can build a muscle is to tear it down and build it up again. Okay. And it hurts.
It hurts. There's sweat, there's pain. Exactly. Sometimes even tears.
Exactly. And then the result of it gives me a stronger body to do a lot of things. So, but the same with every challenge. You should not think that anything that you do is without that tearing down and rebuilding, because if you're learning something or you're doing something that is, you know, is moving you forward, it has to go through that process.
Oh, totally.
So, you know, unless you want to stay exactly where you are at the moment and you're happy with that, although I would say that no one ever stays where they are, they're always either going forward or moving backwards. So, but if you are kind of happy with where you are in your work and you don't need to learn anything else, you don't need, then you don't go through that pain, but you also don't experience incredible feelings of joy and excitement and passion. So if you want all of that as well, then you have to push yourself and challenge yourself, and that comes hand in hand with breaking down and building up. So
but it does take discipline. It does take discipline. And to stay with that physical example, you're not going to be fit and strong if you go to the gym once a month. Sorry, you've got to work.
Or you don't go to the gym.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to put yourself in. You've got to do things. You've got to do the work it takes.
Yep, absolutely. And then you reap the benefits. And I think anyone that's done anything, you know, in their life that they believe is a success, they've had to work really hard at it, and then they reap the benefits. And the thing is that people think that the benefits and the joy is at the end. It's really not. You go through many sort of cycles where you learn a bit more and you go, ooh, this was exciting, and then you go, okay, now I've got to learn the next stage, and it's hard and it's difficult. Why am I doing this? Why do I bother? And you start to learn and you learn, you go, ooh, I'm having fun with this. And then you go through. It's with any profession, whether it's a doctor, an engineer, you know, a scientist, a model, whatever it is, marketing. You know, it's through those learning processes that you get these glimpses of this amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, life is a never-ending learning process, learning journey, but we might as well enjoy it. I mean,
exactly. But I think you can enjoy it when you know that the struggle and the darkness is part of the journey.
Totally.
Where people get very afraid to do things because when they go into the darkness, or they've gone into the darkness before, they get fearful. Will they come out, or do I need to go through this again? And that's the thing is that when you know that it's a natural part of the cycle, you go, you know what? I know this is going to happen. So what do? I find a book, I find a teacher, I, get in there and focus on it, and I push through as quick as I can.
Yep. Yeah, and I always say that beyond the comfort zone, there's a universe of opportunities, but you have to take that all important first step. If you don't make that step, that universe of opportunities is never going to open up for you.
Yeah.
It won't. But
Yeah.
that first step, it can be scary, intimidating.
Yes. And that's okay. And that's okay. You could be so fearful, it makes you feel sick in the stomach, but
Totally.
that's so okay, because that is going to change. And it's, unless you feel those feelings, then you're not doing something new. If you sit on the couch, or if you just continue doing it, you're not going to feel sick in the stomach. You're not going to feel the excitement or anything like that.
And that's the thing, you're not going to feel the excitement and the happiness. You're just missing out on all of that.
Exactly. So those feelings of fear are an awesome indication of you taking a step forward. So whenever I get that sort of, oh God, is this the right thing? Like that feeling. I love whenever I'm in Australia, where there's a bridge, a beach, and where you can jump into the lake from the bridge, might be 2 or 3 meters up, because I'm always like, first of all, I look from afar and I go, geez, that looks like so much fun. Shall I go and do it? Yes, I'll go and do it. And as I'm walking over there, I've already committed that I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do it, but I feel physically sick. But this is the decision I've decided, but I know it's the right thing. And I get on there, and it's still, I feel like fearful, afraid. And when I just jump, it's like, oh, it's this incredible rush, and it makes you feel so alive and so amazing. And I just sort of remember those feelings. I do them deliberately so that it will bring me back to whenever I'm doing something else in work, and that I can trigger by going back to those moments of jumping off a bridge, that I can use them to help me go, it's okay. I felt like
and courage can be learned. It's almost like a muscle that can be trained. I mean, you do that physical bridge jump, and afterwards, first of all, I can set my mind to something and actually pull through. Secondly, yes, there was fear, but afterwards there was this feeling of excitement. So you go, well, maybe next time when there's the fear, I already know that I'm going to feel great afterwards. So it's like anything in life. You learn that taking those gutsy steps will very soon make you feel excited. And yes, you've got to go through this little valley of, but it's totally cool.
Yeah, and also it's important to go back up onto the bridge and jump again a few times.
Yeah.
On the weekend, I was with my son, and he had his bike and was going downstairs. And honestly, the amount of times he went around and stopped before he went down, he was so scared that he'd fall off his bike. And then I just, you've got to do it. You've got to make this decision. You're either going to go home or this is it. And so he's like, I said I'm going to do it. Okay, all right.
Wow.
So he went down, and he was like, oh my God. And I said, but you have to get back over here, and you have to go down at least 4 or 5 times.
Do it a few times, so it sets in your mind.
Yeah, and what happens is in a very short period of time, you realize that fear became moderately less each time. And that's the thing is that fear can be trained, that grit can be trained in you. So now he's like, oh, this is so easy, Mom. Why don't you do it? And I said, because I never decided to do it. I wanted to do it.
And that's the thing, you've got to be clear about things. And if riding downstairs with a bicycle is not your thing, then just be cool about it. And sometimes we have this feeling we must do exactly what others do. No. If your thing is not riding downstairs or starting a business in whatever field, then it's not your cup of tea. And not everyone would feel comfortable being in front of a TV screen, being viewed by 6 million people on a daily basis. You are. It's your thing. Find your thing. What would you say? What can help people to find out who they are, what they want, and what makes them happy? Because a lot of people struggle with that. What's your tip?
So I'm a big believer on the only way that you can know something truly is if you put it down on paper. So the best, when you see something visually, it is like, it's like I can explain to you a room, but unless you really see the room, then it becomes absolute clarity behind it.
Yeah.
So there are very easy steps to do. Is if someone is wondering what is it that's going to make them happy, is to write down the things that make them happy.
Yep, it's a revelation.
Write down everything that makes you happy. What are the things that bring you joy in your life? And it doesn't always have to be when I'm working doing this. It could be when I have that first sip of tea, when I talk with my friends about nothing, or when I have go out sit on a beach. It could be anything, but write down everything that brings you joy, brings you happiness. And then write a list of the things that you are not happy with, things that you don't like or that you don't accept in your life. And when you have them in front of you, things will become, oh my goodness, I love painting. I love being creative. How can I bring more of that into my life? And that's how we do it, is that you write it down. What are the things? And then what are the things that in that area that you love that you could do more of, or that you could learn more of? So that's the next step, where you're pushing yourself to the next platform. And again, then you'll go through a hero's journey about, I want to learn to paint in acrylics, and I used to do water paint, something like that.
Yeah.
And then it won't work, it will be terrible, and you'll learn someone, you'll do a class, and then you start to get good at it, and you get pretty good at it, and you'll go, wow, I'm really good. And so, whatever it is for you to be able to, I believe a lot of the time is that we don't get enjoyment from things because we don't go deep enough into it. We don't know.
Totally agree.
About it. So that's the best thing, is right. What are the things that make you happy? What are the things that don't make you happy, or that bring you grief or unhappiness or sadness? We will find that most of the time we spend our time in the unhappiness. I keep speaking to this person, they've got a negative attitude, they bring me down. Why do you keep hanging out with them?
Yep. And it's sometimes so simple.
Yeah, I'm doing a job, I hate the company, I hate my boss, then why are you spending all your time doing it?
Yeah.
Or it could be just simple things like that. I hate going to my office on the train. Okay, so
is there another way of doing it?
Yeah, so these two options will sort of bring light onto how you can bring some extra joy into your life immediately. And then I just say, heighten the things that you love, do more of it, and do, push them. And that's where you want to challenge yourself. And the things that you don't like, decide either to go deeper, to learn, or to love it, or get rid of it.
Yeah. And it's so funny that you just explained that process of writing it down. It's exactly what I've done several times in my life when I had big decisions to make. And I come from the corporate life. I had a pretty good corporate career internationally. And before I left BMW, I also sat down, and it was intimidating. I was the director of marketing for BMW in Asia, and it was big, it was great, it was happy, and a lot of it was right. But then I had this feeling of something's missing, and I sat down and I literally did this list. For me, it was a PowerPoint where I said, what are the things that I really love? What are the things I'm passionate about? What are the things I'm good at? What are the things that I don't want to continue doing in my life? Who are the kind of people I want to hang out with in a business world? What is it in all this list? And it became a pretty big fat document. And I looked at it, and in the end I said, well, I've got to make that step away from the corporate. Yeah, and it just gives you so much clarity, just writing it down, putting it into a certain structure, and really just going like, what am I actually good at? What am I passionate about? Who are people that, or what helped me a lot, what have people said to me in terms of feedback? How do they see me in terms of what am I good at? And there was so much that it all came together, and then all of a sudden I was like, okay, it's a very clear thing. I've got to go.
Yeah. And it helps to
Oh, totally.
It removes a lot of the fear, because then when you see that, and that's happened to me in the past too, where I've looked at it and I've gone, when I was fearful of which path to take, I then became, when I wrote it all down, I became fearful of, what if I don't make that? What if I don't choose the right thing? I do know what is clear. So the fear becomes not moving forward in the direction you want to go. The fear is staying, because that is not what I want. Like all these things I don't want, hell, I'm not going to live this life like that.
And just asking yourself that question, not only just what could develop out of, but also what happens if I don't? What happens if I just remain here and don't change a thing? And that's a scary question that a lot of people don't have the guts to ask.
Yeah. And going through this process, so this is a great process for anyone and everyone, because you learn more about yourself. And so people often say to me is, how can you make decisions so quickly, and why do you make them with confidence and with fear but move forward? Is because that list is implanted in my mind, and I review it all the time. I upload it. Actually, I didn't like that. No, I won't work with client. The money is not important. I won't work with a client like that. Do not bring in these people again. This is the type of person I want. So I adjust all the time, and it becomes who you are, or I should say, you become the person that you want to be. And that is where you're talking about, is creating not just the life. The life is something that we build around us, but we're creating the person we want to be that can be in that life. And that's where, it's so important, is to create the person that can be in that life. And that's where the hero's journey, as you're saying, is, why do we go into dance? Because the goal and our current situation is not in line. And that's why you need mentors or learning to get us up to being able to really embrace the goal that we want. There has to be a learning for it. So, as you're saying, we need to become the person. I used to do a lot of corporate training, and people say, I want to be the office manager, and they're the secretary. And I said, well, then you need to start acting like the office manager. But you need to learn that process. So it's the same with us. You have a goal. Who do you need to become to own that goal? And that's an important part of the process.
Totally cool. Well, thank you so much for all the insights into your wonderful life, into the secret behind your success and happiness. One last question. If you could boil it down to one advice for greater success and happiness in your life, what is the one, let's call it the Phoenix Mindset tool, where you say one big tool for people to apply right away for our listeners, that one listener that is waiting for that one tool now?
I'm going to use a quote that's been, is a famous one, is feel the fear and do it anyway. So yeah, that for me is, when I feel the fear, I know I'm in the right direction. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Heidi. It's been incredible speaking with you, hearing all about your life, the secret behind your happiness and the success, and to see how genuine you go about it and how much clarity and determination you have. And I think that's just such an inspiration for the listeners, the viewers. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for this wonderful hour, and for all the inspiration that you shared just now, and all the very best.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to you, and I hope that all the listeners, can just take, again, it's only ever one thing, just that one first step, just take one thing from it, bite the bullet, get it done, and see the results that they can create in their life.
Cool. Thank you so much, Heidi Dugan. Wow, what an incredible lady. Heidi has truly mastered the art of creating a beautifully successful and happy, fulfilled life, and creating the person she wants to be. And this is so powerful. And I'm glad we had her on the show at the Phoenix Mindset today to really learn the secrets of her success. Thanks again for Heidi for being here on this Phoenix Mindset podcast. And more about Heidi, her contact details are all in the show notes. And one last thing, please do help us to grow. If you like the Phoenix Mindset podcast, share it, rate it, follow it. Help us create more following and really just get that message out to more people. It's not about the number of followers. It's about the number of souls that we can touch. So please do support us by sharing, liking, following, and just, telling your friends about it. Thank you so much. This is Sonja Piontek from the Phoenix Mindset Podcast.